darkness of the night, shadows move and whispers echo. We asked the community to submit their scariest ever ghost tales. We've got these 5 bone-chilling stories. Dare to listen? If you're alone, grab a pillow to hug. You just might need it. Let's start with the real incident about a gorgeous lady, Elise, who lived in a haunted house. Other houses on her street had strange things going on too. There lived a family a few homes away from her. One night, their daughter went to bed with a severe headache. The next day, she was dead. Doctors said she'd passed away from an aneurysm. Can you believe it? After her funeral, the family went away to get their minds off the tragedy. The owner of that house in the neighborhood was a closed one, so they asked Elise and her husband to check on their pets. They planned to visit the house in the evening. Elise was fond of a grand piano there and always wanted to play it. After entering the house, she went straight to the piano on the ground floor while her husband headed to the basement to see the animals. The gorgeous lady was playing it when something brushed her ankles. Elise thought a cat must have left the basement and walked past her. Elise kept playing it till she felt the same thing again. She looked under the piano and saw nothing. When she started again, some unknown little hands, full of blood, clasped her legs tightly. What was it? Elise dashed to the basement door, yelling loudly and calling her husband outside. He was already waiting for her to get back. He caressed his wife and asked if anything was wrong and why she rattled this way. Elise told him what had happened, and he turned white. Can you believe it? The daughter, who had died a few days ago, used to play a game with her mother. When she played the piano, she'd crawl underneath, grab her ankles, and push her feet up and down on the pedals. Even after her death, her soul awaits someone to do the same. In a quiet suburban neighborhood, 10-year-old Kevin always felt safe in his room. But one fateful night, safety turned to eerie mystery. Awakened by the soft creak of the bedroom door, he felt the weight of someone sitting on the edge of his bed. "It's just Mom," Kevin thought, rubbing the sleep from his eyes. But the figure before him wasn't his mom. Kevin found an eyeless boy with black empty sockets about his age sitting at the foot of the bed. The scary boy extended his hand with a little box. Startled terribly, Kevin reached out and pulled back abruptly. He reached again and said, "Give it." Once Kevin blinked and reopened his eyes, there was nothing. But he could still see the imprint where he'd sat on the bed. Look around, see if you've got the same mark around you. 5 years later, his girlfriend Julia came over to do homework. After she finished, she took a quick nap while she waited for her parents. When they arrived, Kevin tried waking her up. Julia opened her eyes abruptly, looking up at a corner where the wall met the roof. She pointed there and went back to sleep. Kevin shook her again. Julia got fully conscious after some time and explained what suspicions that she had. Julia looked haunted. She said, "On the wall, I saw a young boy without eyes, positioned like Spider-Man, gazing at me." Kevin freaked out and told her the story about the same kid. Years passed and the day came when they were together with their 2-year-old kid. Their daughter started waking up at the same time every night, and she'd talk. After a while, they noticed she had almost the same conversation every night. Kevin asked her once whom she was talking to, and the little girl said, "It's a little boy. He's nice but lost, looking for his mommy." Their daughter's nightly conversations continued until they got another place later that year. Would you brave a night there, facing the chilling gaze of the boy with no eyes? The ambulance company Mark worked for had a haunted ambulance called Rig 12. Many EMTs whispered of its haunted nature, but others never gave in to such tales. That was until one fateful 3 a.m. shift when Mark and his partner worked in a rural community. Mark was driving Rig 12 in a pitch dark and quiet night. It was boring and they were both dozing off. Mark woke up to a muffled voice, but he thought his partner was talking. Mark told her he was trying to sleep and closed his eyes. He heard a heavy voice say, "Oh my God, am I dying?" followed by moments of heavy breathing. Mark and his partner sat up straight and looked back into the patient compartment where it sounded like the voice had come from. Everything was calm for a couple of seconds. Then they heard the click of an oxygen bottle regulator and hiss as it was leaking. Mark turned on the lights and they ran out of the rig. They thought a transient might have climbed in while they were asleep, so they opened the rear doors, but no one was there. Next, Mark checked the oxygen bottles, and neither was opened. You can bet that they didn't sleep much after that. Would you dare to ride in Rig 12 on a dark, silent night? Hey, if you're still with us and your heart hasn't skipped a beat, go ahead and hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more spine-tingling stories. But now, let's get back to the tales, if you dare. Every house has its quirks, but what happened in a quaint townhouse on Elm Street was chillingly unusual. Sarah always received a call at 3:03 a.m. The first few times, she dismissed it as a wrong number. The line was silent, save for some heavy breathing. One evening, she decided to trace the call. Answering it one faithful night, an icy silence greeted her, followed by a whispered, "Is it safe?" The voice was hollow, distant, as if calling from another time. Startled, Sarah hung up, attributing it to a prank. Soon, she realized the call came from her deceased grandmother's old landline, disconnected years ago. Sarah later learned that her grandmother passed away exactly at 3:03 a.m. Perhaps a final attempt to say goodbye, or was it something more sinister? An exorcist ended his ritual, and since that night, the call stopped, but the horrific feeling remains. In our digital age, who uses a landline anymore? And who or what was the phantom caller? Bellevue Ballroom was the grandest in the city, hosting the elite. But its most enchanting story is about Clara, a talented dancer known for her mesmerizing performances. A fire erupted one night as she twirled in her white gown. Chaos ensued, but Clara never made it out, and her soul, well, some say it's still there. On some nights, a mysterious tune fills the air when the clock strikes midnight, and a pretty dancer in a scorched white dress can be seen gracefully moving across the ballroom. They say that it's Clara, still dancing her last dance. If you're ever near Bellevue at midnight, stop and listen. And if you hear music, you might just glimpse the midnight dancer. Sleeping tonight? Well, think again. These aren't just stories, but whispered truths carried through time. If you hear a whisper or a shadow move, remember these tales and wonder, are you truly alone? Have you ever experienced anything similar to this in your life? Please share your story with us in the comments section below. We'd love to hear them from you. Until next time, my friends, thank you very much for choosing to spend your time with us today. We'll catch you in our next video, if you dare.